it is a combative system. It is a martial art. It's not a sport. People like Kimura, people like Nanbu, people like Yamada, people like Kawata, they were wonderful individuals who truly understood not only the technique that Sensei Tani wanted to share with the world, but also the attitude by which it was shared. Karate shouldn't be used as a method of attack unnecessarily. It's something that needs to be used vigorously, applied vigorously when the moment occurred. What is not all right is that the techniques are used as in a threatening manner when it's not necessary.
How would the energy or the strictness of a traditional Japanese dojo compare to what you were finding or what you were to find in the Western world?
I don't want to frighten anybody away, so let me put it this way. When karate was first introduced to the West, some of the instructors that were sent from Japan believed that what they needed to do was to show that karate was the toughest, meanest, baddest, roughest, strongest thing on the face of this earth. And some of the techniques that they introduced were not actually truly Japanese cultural techniques at all. They were things that were introduced in order to demonstrate the hardness and toughness of karate. By the way, I think that they've gone too far in the opposite direction now, and in some ways it's lost its mojo, because it is a combative system. It is a martial art. It's not a sport. Yes, we have an adaptation for sporting use, but it's not a sport. It is genuinely a martial art. And I've used it as a basis for teaching police and military groups all around the world. But culturally, I was very, 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 very fortunate, because the instructors that I was exposed to, the people like Kimura, people like Nanbu, people like Yamada, people like Kawata, they were wonderful individuals who truly understood not only the technique that Sensei Tani wanted to share with the world, but also the attitude by which it was shared. And look, they were young. They were young men, and sometimes they failed. But most of the time, as do we all, but most of the time, they managed to convey a feeling of strength, a feeling of vigor, of really strong, accurate technique, whilst at the same time understanding that these things are taught with the best intentions in mind, not as a way of bullying or threatening and so on, but truly to be defensive tools. Now, I mean, at some stage, it's attributed to Funakoshi Sensei that there's no first attack in karate. That's actually not what he meant at all. Nor is it. And by the way, I didn't ask him, but I've spoken to people who knew the man. I've spoken to people who understand the message that he gave. What he meant, what he was saying, was that karate shouldn't be used as a method of attack unnecessarily. It's something that needs to be used vigorously, applied vigorously when the moment occurred. Now, if someone's threatening you or threatening your wife or threatening your children, to preemptively strike actually is okay. And it was okay in the mind of Funakoshi. What is not all right is that the techniques are used as in a threatening manner when it's not necessary. So those messages were taught either really, really well by these young men that came over, or sometimes the interpretation was not quite what their teacher intended. But they were certainly successful because karate has just been an amazing cultural exchange. I think the problem very definitely is that at some time in the 80s, late 70s, 80s, 90s, there was an obsession in Japan for karate to get into the Olympics. And sport karate went from being part of what was taught to becoming the thing that was taught. And that's created a weakness. So in some countries, in some societies, there is an impression that karate is for children, karate is for sport, and that it's not a martial art. But that's incorrect. What is very clear, however, is that a lot of people who are teaching karate have misunderstood the importance of it. And whilst I agree that sport karate, for instance, is of value to young people, it should be taught as part of what we do, not what we do.